Hi, welcome to Coffee and Closers. I'm Nikolai Bedore, and I want to personally invite you to join me and one of today's top performing sales stars for a cup of coffee and authentic conversation. And our collective goal is that you will walk away with tangible knowledge that you can apply to your sales efforts today. Are you ready? Grab a cup, fill it up, and let's get into another episode of Coffee and Closers.
Welcome to Coffee and Closers. My name is Nikolai Bedore, and I'm about to introduce a guest that I've been wanting on this show for so very long. He's just a busy man. So he specifically said about 8 months ago, pegged me down for April, and so we've got him. If you don't know Clarence Bethea, his story is incredible. This theme of this episode is about selling against all odds and selling uphill, and there is no true story from a guy who grew up in the streets of Atlanta to now being the CEO of a technology rocket ship named Upsie. Please put your hands together for April's guest, Clarence Bethea. Well, thanks for being on the show, man. And first off, this is the one time my wife let me dress myself, and I think we're wearing the same shirt. Damn it, Nikolai, that's so embarrassing. Anyway, thanks for being on the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
So I'm going to jump right in. You grew up in the streets of Atlanta.
I did.
You are now the CEO of a nationally celebrated technology company.
I am.
Could you walk us through that journey?
Where we want to start? In the streets?
In the streets.
Well, it was a cold, cold day in the streets of Atlanta.
I thought Atlanta was hot. I thought it was hot Atlanta.
It was cold that day. So you know what? Grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. I always tell the story that I was on the wrong side of the tracks. Grew up selling nickel bags of weed so we can eat. Just in and out of juvenile, just making mistakes pretty much my whole life. So that part of the journey, I remember very vividly because it's what drives me today. Kid from the wrong side of the tracks who got really lucky.
Well, that's it. So luck is all that will guide you, and see you later. No, man, I'm going to poke. Because it's an incredible story. There's so many people here. I mean, how many people have failed? Right? How many people grew up in the streets of Atlanta? So, if it's okay, I'd like to hear a little more, because that journey from that boy, that man, to the man that is today, the man that to be honest, I look up to, man. You're a guy that I think a lot of us look up to. And I didn't know.
We're just gonna cry, like.
That's
the point.
That's designed for the third question.
Okay. Cool.
I want to hear more about your story.
So in Atlanta, I was also a really good basketball player. So I moonlighted as a basketball player and was also just a street kid. Ended up going to college in Kansas, so that got me out of Atlanta. 3 months later, got kicked out of college because I had zero discipline. So went home for a semester, went to another college, got kicked out of that 2 weeks later because I had zero discipline again, and ended up going back home, staying with my mom, sleeping on the floor. Our sleep on the floor was 2-bedroom apartment, 4 of us, roaches. That was our sleep on the floor. So I ended up going to another college, and the final college I went to would be Minneapolis State University, which is how I got here to Minnesota. My junior college coach, who I was there for 2 weeks, said, "Hey, why don't you come up here and play college basketball? You won't play," because in high school I did no work, so I had like a 1.3 GPA. That was high.
So you and Feedy graduated from the same?
Yes, pretty much.
Okay.
He was smarter though. And he said, "Hey, you can come up here and play college basketball, but you won't play the first semester you're here. You're going to do your work and just be a student." So I found out when I went there that...
Was this a hard decision for him? Because was it like, you're really good, but I have to stand by my...
Yeah, to be honest with you. So he said, "Why don't you come up to Minneapolis State? It's located in Minnesota." And I was like, "Well, what's Minnesota?"
And now you know.
I had no clue that Minnesota was a state, honest to God. So
just
embarrassing.
the province of Canada,
Yeah, I had no clue. And then so he said, hey, why don't you come up here, you won't play any basketball, you're just gonna do some work. And when I got there, I found out I was reading on a 4th grade level as a 20-year-old man. So so after I did all the tests, he was like, hey, I feel like you can figure this out. And that semester I made a 3.5 GPA, and I was like one of the best students on the team. And that was kind of the first reality to me that, hey, when I adapt myself, I can figure shit out, right? Yeah. That's one of my cuss words. I get 3, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
maybe 4 because it's you.
Okay, cool. So I was like, oh, wow, like when I adapt myself, like good things happen. Still wasn't very disciplined, but I adapted myself in the classroom. And that just kind of led me through, meeting my wife, who, she's not here with us today, but, I say, any good man has a phenomenal spouse next to him.
Amen.
And she is the reason why, like, I'm here today, because she took a chance on a dude that was pretty broken when she met me.
That's awesome. That's a clapping moment, I think. Yeah.
Artificial claps.
I think I'd be dead if it wasn't for my wife. I mean, that's why she's so close to me right now, to make sure I don't do anything repulsive or whatever. All right, so you learned kind of if you apply yourself, good things can happen. I don't want to fast forward your career path, but you're now a CEO. I mean, how many CEOs do we have here? Oh, more than, well, that backfired.
More than you thought.
But you're a CEO now, man, of a arguably a nationally recognized company. So, can you talk a little bit further about, you're playing college ball, you're getting great grades, and now you're a CEO?
Yeah, so I mean, so first of all, let me be clear. Like, I don't get off on the CEO thing. Like, I work for my team, and it's my job to do certain things, but we're not here without our team and the stuff that they do every day to make sure our customers are taken care of. So I think sometimes this entrepreneur thing is glorified in a way that it shouldn't be glorified. I think too many people get off on, I'm the CEO. I actually tell people when I meet people out, I was like, hey, I work for this company called Upsie, because like the CEO thing is it's an ego thing. It's not an execution thing. So yeah. So I mean, yeah. I don't know what you want me to say there. Like, I work at Upsie, pretty much.
That's why you celebrated, though, your humility. So in sales, we're in the business of no. How many new salespeople do we have here? People new to sales. All right. How many of you guys have been in it for a while? Who's been in it? All right. Those folks, for you newbies, those folks know this, but we're in the business of no. We just, our job is to hear no over and over and over and over until we come across a yes, and that yes is from all that determination and hard work that we believe that we can service the client better than anyone else. Clarence, nobody, man, that I know has had more doors slammed on them than you, right? But yet you've got up over and over and over through everything and kept going. My question, man, is how did you battle those daily demons that were constantly telling you you're not good enough, you should quit, forget it?
I think for me, I have an unwavering thought that I can do whatever I put my mind to. When I look back at my life and I look back at the adversity that I've been through, like, I've made it through all of that. So for me, like, when you tell me no, I actually laugh internally. I'm like, you're stupid, because, like, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
And it is, maybe it's the streets, maybe, whatever it is. I just have this ability in my mind that when you tell me no, I'm like, okay, I got to prove you wrong and make you feel like you made a mistake telling me no. And that motivates me. So people get motivation from different places. I get it from adversity, and it's probably where I'm at my best.
When did you realize this? I mean, there had to be a point where you... So I remember when I had my chip on my shoulder, I was told... I actually had crappy grades too, so I was like, I was told by my guidance counselor that I wasn't going to go to college. I should consider tech school, but I was failing tech class at that moment. So you small town of 50 kids in my class. I'm like, well, what the hell? I mean, there's no fast food joint to work at, you know, discovered sales and so on. But I'll never forget that. I will never forget somebody telling me I can't do that. Was there kind of an aha moment where that hit you?
I think for me, it's been like that my whole life. Like I've always been told I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, I'm whatever, not enough. So I've always set out to prove people wrong. The interesting thing about entrepreneurship is that the work you put in is what's going to come out on the other end. Most people want to do their work out in the open. You know, I joke around with our team. I say, like, we're going to keep our head down. So we're not going to say much, and we're going to let the results come out on the other end. And if we're executing and we're doing what we're supposed to do, we'll continue to grow revenue. Our team will continue to grow. We'll continue to raise money. If we're not doing those things, we're probably dying. So we stay focused on head down, execute, and let's see what happens on the other end.
I heard that kind of a quote at church this last Sunday about, you know, it doesn't matter what you say, you can't argue with a life well lived. Yep. Almost like, you know, so that's got to be a battle though. I mean, you have a team. Like, you can believe this, and maybe some of them you can get to believe, but you know, the 80-20 rule. I mean, how do you keep the entire team on the boat? You know, humble. You start having success, it's really hard to stay humble.
Yeah. I think people don't want to work for a jerk, right? Like, nobody want to work for an asshole. And I think if you treat your team with respect, you get out of their way and you empower them to do the things that they're good at, and you make sure they have the resources to do those things. It's really, like, people are really easy to deal with if you deal with them in a respectful way. It gets really hard when you want to demand people to do things and you want to look over the shoulder. Like, that gets really hard. I'm lucky and blessed. I work with the smartest people in town. Yeah. I say it all over the country. I work with the greatest people in our industry, in our business, and I wouldn't trade any one of them in for anybody in this town, because they come in, they work, they execute, they treat our customers with respect. I think we talked about this on the call. You know, we talk about grace internally. It's a word. Like, somebody on my team right now is rolling their eyes, like, here we go with this grace word again. But you know, we talk about grace pretty often, and about how showing grace to each other is important, and how showing grace to our customers are important. And it's amazing when you live with grace. It's amazing, like, the things you don't go through because you look at each other with grace.
Speaking of grace, you know, this is a show about failures, right? I'd love to hear how. I would love to hear, and you could pick a time, a period, whatever, but I want to hear, just for all of us, because we've all failed, you know, we've all failed. And something that we learn about is you know, when somebody's down, that's sometimes, that's the time where you see their true self. I know you have a different thought of that, I want to hear that, but was there a time that you just massively failed, you were able to get yourself back up, and maybe grace was applied? Because that's...
I mean, my life, there's been so many failures, so I think probably one of the turning points for me, like, as a leader, you know, as, you know, a guy trying to figure this out, was probably 2016, late 2016. We had, you know, a very large investment on the table, and at the 11th hour, like, literally, like, paperwork's about to be signed, like, they pulled out. And in the moment, we had to put $10,000 down on the office. Like, we had done all this work to get going, and an investor pulled out at the 11th hour. Is that normal? I mean, No, it's not normal. It's not good business. And I remember, and I only, like, a few people know this story, but I remember I was sitting on my bed, and I got the call it was probably 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, and the investor just called me and said, hey, we're not investing anymore. And at the time, like, we had been going through some tough times already. And I remember my wife, like, I'm on the phone, and my wife's standing there looking at me, and, like, I'm just kind of trying to hold it together. And on the phone, I'm like, hey, you know what, man, thanks for the opportunity, like, we appreciate it, blah, blah. Hang up the phone, and I just fall out on the floor. And my wife falls on top of me. said I wasn't gonna come here and do this with you, man.
This is question 3. I'm kidding. I'm not counting. I made that all up. I could hold your. I wish I could reach you. I'd hold your foot.
So I get off the floor. I kiss her on the cheek, and we got my daughter at the time, and I kiss her on the cheek, and I jump in my car, and I just drive, and I'm on 35E. I turn around at 77, and I'm going 130 miles per hour, and I'm just like, I've let everybody down. I left my past investors down, let my wife down. I'm like, I'm just gonna drive off the next bridge that I see. So I'm literally like, I'm flooring it, and I'm like, I'm just gonna drive off the bridge, must be much easier. And I still remember like something on my shoulder, like, Clarence, like, this ain't the end of your story. And obviously now I'm like, it's a man upstairs, so it was slow down, relax, you'll be fine. And so I slow down, I get off on our exit, and I just sit in front of my house, and I'm just bawling. I'm just like, I don't know what to do. And it was amazing that happened. I went to my early investors and was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm done.
Oh, you got me.
That's a good wife.
That's a good partner. And I will take you up on that. Sorry.
No problem. But it's amazing. Like at that point, how God turned my life around. Thank you. And like things just started happening, like that were positive. So that was the end of 16. In beginning of 17, I meet Brett Bro. He's like, "Hey man, I really love what you're doing."
So this low, you said, what turned you around? What'd you say?
I met Brett Bro, Brett from Syndicate Fund. And he's like, "Hey man, I really love your business. I really love what you're doing." I'm like, "Hey man, like we kind of suck right now. We don't know what we're doing." And he's like, "Hey, I want to invest. I want to invest $100,000 in your business." I'm like, "Whoa, okay, like we'll take it." And so, and then we got an invite to apply for Techstars, and it was just kind of all she wrote. It was like that was the jump off point where Upsie is today.
Holy crap, okay. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that, man. Thank you. All right, cleanse, here we go. All right, so let's talk about some success. Actually, before we get into that, I was in your office a while back, right? I was in your office, and I remember walking around the hallways, and there was all these awards. I don't know if you know this or not. This guy's been on TV, he's been on all these publications. They won a ton of awards. And I remember walking through, and you just stopped. I don't know why we stopped there, and you just looked around, you're like, you see all this? You're like, this isn't success. This is just noise. This isn't success. This doesn't speak to the ups and downs. And then we moved on and we kept walking. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been super guilty about celebrating fake success. You know what I mean? This show in particular, if I'm going to be honest, I'm like, look at how successful we are. But are we? I mean, really, like, are we touching lives? That's the whole point. Like, are we teaching people? If you guys aren't walking away without knowledge, this is a waste. We shouldn't even be doing this, right? But you don't know that. I never forgot that because people celebrate that kind of success. What did you mean by that? And what is success to you?
Yeah, again, I think we spend too much time like looking at awards. And awards, like, don't get me wrong, awards are cool and they're in the moment, they're cool and they're great for your team to see that people respect your business. But they don't add dollars to the bottom line, not one bit. What I think success is, like when I go home every day, like I went home yesterday and both of my kids came running into the door, like that's success, right? Yeah. My wife is happy and healthy, that's success. I got great people around us, that's success. Our team is healthy and love coming to work every day. I don't have to beg them to come to work. I don't have to incentivize them to come to work. They want to come do it. That's success. The business stuff, like Upsie could fail tomorrow. I'll find a job. My team will find a job. We'll be fine. At that time in 2016, the business meant everything to me. And today, it is a small part of who Clarence is.
Do you feel that yeah. And I don't think it's a magic button, but do you feel like when you shifted those priorities that's when the light opened, or the door opened and light shined?
Ironically, the business started doing better after I stopped caring about it that much. It's so true. It's crazy. Again, I think us as entrepreneurs or people just in the grind every day, whether you do sales at a company or whatever, we spend so much focus and so much of our time on stuff that really don't matter. You know, like I don't want people to say 10 years from now, like, that's Clarence who built Upsie. Like, that's a very short-term thing to me. I want people to say, hey man, like, when I reached out to that dude, he helped me.
Yeah.
Like, that's what matters to me, because this business stuff, it comes and goes. You at one job, you leave a little bit a while later. You know, businesses come and go, they fail. It's really cool to do in the moment, but it's not what I want my legacy to be about.
That's amazing, man. That's selfless. And, you know, you don't tell me this. We run in similar circles, and I know several people that consider you their mentor. And by mentor, there's people that call on people to ask advice, and there's people that literally go to you for every little thing. And when we were doing it, I mean, I can't take it. You helped me out, if you remember, during Odium. It was my first startup,
right.
And I had no idea what I was doing. We were going through some bullshit, and you were there. And I know others, man. I know others that you don't say anything about it, but they say it about you. So I think your legacy is doing just fine, being exactly who you are. Speaking of legacy, we got to talk about the business. You know, this is a sales show after all.
Yep.
But you said something interesting, and just to clarify, entrepreneurship to me is sales with all of the risk. If you're in a sales position, it's like risk-free entrepreneurship. I got a base salary, I got benefits. If it doesn't work out, I didn't leverage the house on it, you know. So, right? So, $3.5 million in venture-backed funding.
So far.
And you go there if you want. I'm not gonna, you know, that's incredible. And I know that there's a long tail of story that you could tell us about all the failure and how you heard no. But I'd like to hear about the success, man. Like some tangible knowledge that our people at home that are listening, or people here, that they can. Maybe it's closing advice. Maybe it's pitching advice. Maybe it's picking the right target, if you will, or the right partner. I don't know. But anything you can share. How did you close $3.5 million?
Yeah, so I think this business, like sales, is a relationship business, right? It's the reason why it takes 3 to 6 months to raise a round of funding, because you have to build a relationship. You got to trust me. I don't know if you noticed, but there's not many black folks in venture, so I got to create like a double relationship. I first got to get you past the fact I'm black. Then it's okay to laugh.
Me, I'm good with it.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. I mean, but
I believe you.
This is I'm so serious. Like, first I got to get you past that, because people do business with people that they know and they like, and like they have some reference to. And in venture, less than 1% of VC dollars go to African Americans. So
what is this? What's the stat?
Less than 1% goes to African Americans. So you first have to create a common ground, with the investor. Then from there, I got to show you like I'm a great person, I'm a great leader, and I can do the things I say I can do.
Yeah. Wow. Can you talk about, because do you remember this when you connected about some different verticals for Upsie, and how you guys kind of like decided to go in different verticals, or how where you're gonna sell into?
All right.
Do you want to talk about how you guys strategize, maybe new markets, your marketing strategies?
So we're very focused on our customers and retention, right? So once you come on the platform, we're really focused on keeping you there, and like we're fanatics about our customers. Like my team will tell you, like I don't get mad about much. Like there's not many things that get me to like that point, but if you mess with one of our customers, like if you mess up their experience, like I am livid, right? Because I understand that they're the heartbeat of our company. And so we're obviously B2C, so we do a lot of direct marketing. Just recently, we closed a few partnerships, and we like that's how we go about it from a sales point. get our customers in the door, get them taken care of by any means necessary.
What is your sales process?
What do you mean?
New client acquisition.
Oh, digital. So we're direct to consumer.
Yep.
So places like Google AdWords, Reddit, word of mouth is really strong for us. Yeah, so those are kind of channels. Anything digital, we pretty much do.
And when you guys, so I don't know if you guys, I follow you guys all over the place, and I always see you're always posting customer satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
But could you share a little bit more detail on how do you? So I become a customer,
Mm-hmm.
and then how do you guys keep me engaged? Because there's got to be other noise, right? Why would I consider someone else? But I want to stay with you. You seem to have a really high customer stat.
Yeah, I mean, so we have a really high for a B2C company. We have a really high retention rate. Our customers stay with us. Partly because, again, we're just fanatics about our customer. When something comes up, we jump over the moon to get them taken care of. And so a lot of that comes through email, it comes through phone calls. Our team picks up the phone and calls a customer versus emailing them back. Little things like that keep us engaged with our customers. And those reviews that you see are a lot of times from like unsolicited from customers.
Really?
So we're not saying, will you please leave us a review? They just do it because they're like, man, I've never had this kind of experience with a warranty company before.
How do you hire the people that you have that are serving these clients? What's some hiring advice you can give to some people? Because we've seen in the SaaS space, I can click a button, I can purchase, but the sales process, I believe, begins at that moment. Because now you got me. How are you going to service me? How do you find? Because it's hard to find those people. I think. I mean, I've struggled with it.
Yeah, hire for culture. Hire for culture first. Our culture is about grace and serving the customers. It doesn't matter what your skill level is. Hire people that want to do those things. We can figure out the rest together.
How do you uncover that, though? I mean, I could tell you I'm great. I love people, but maybe I'm totally...
My bullshit meter is at an all-time high.
Yeah? Something tells me that's true.
So yeah, I mean, you just can't, my team would tell you, we had this guy come in, his nickname was Smudge Face. No, seriously, that was his name.
Wait, his name was Smudge Face?
Yeah, that's what we called him. That was his nickname. So we That's what I called him.
Oh, the truth.
Yeah. And it was just one of those things where it's just like, culturally, he wasn't a good fit. So I nicknamed him Smudge Face because he wasn't a good fit.
So in sales we have PIP, performance. So if you go to Upsie and you're not doing so hot, you get a bad nickname. Is that so?
Yeah.
So you're like, I got to get the hell out of here because I don't like being called Smudge Face.
Look, if somebody in our office refers to you as Smudge Face, you're probably not getting a job.
What if I rock the T-shirt when I walk in? Man?
It doesn't matter.
I got about 5 minutes. I have so many questions, man, but I want to be fair to you guys. This is your show. I promised you for the Q&A. I really want to ask 2 questions, but I'll skip it. I'll skip to one, and then what would you tell your younger self, man? You've lived quite a life, and I want to end with legacy, but I really would love to hear kind of some advice of learning all the stuff that you've learned from getting your ass kicked, hearing no, to closing 3.5, to the good stuff coming up. What would you tell yourself? What would be the advice? You'd say, here's where to start, here's what to do, here's what not to do.
I get asked this question often. I wouldn't tell myself nothing. Like all of those things that I've been through, all those lessons, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't have the grit, I wouldn't have the perseverance, I wouldn't have, just some of the tools that I have in my belt today if it wasn't for all those things. So I feel like God wanted me to go through all of that stuff to be here today. And I wouldn't trade it in for the world. I would go through everything exactly how it happened if I knew I was going to end up sitting here with you today.
Right on. All right, I'm going to ask it anyway. Legacy. 20 years from now, you're gonna paint the rest. You're gonna paint those years. What do you want your legacy to be?
A giver. I want to say he gave. Like he gave to me. He gave to our community. I want people to feel like Clarence was a friend more than a colleague. And if I could do that, that'd be a good enough legacy for me.
So what advice you'd leave with salespeople is to say, definitely sell features and benefits like hard.
I got 2 pieces of advice.
Kidding.
Actually, I got 2 pieces of advice.
I know this.
So my first piece of advice is, if you hit somebody up on LinkedIn, don't call their office. Like, don't do that. That's terrible. That's the first piece of advice.
Hold on. I saw this post.
That's actually-
Explain, because it was kind of cryptic, and I felt like I'm missing something. So, boy hits you up on LinkedIn.
Yeah, hit me up on LinkedIn and it calls my office. Yeah. Look, I understand LinkedIn is a tool to connect with people, and I get it. But yeah, I'm like most people. I do business with people I like and have a relationship with. I actually won't leave somebody that I like if you come and offer something 30% cheaper. I won't leave that person because I trust them. I just don't do business like that, and I think most people inherently don't do business like that. So I would say, like, first of all, like, if you hit somebody on LinkedIn, a simple question like, hey man, like, looking forward to meeting you at Coffee&Closers.
Okay.
It's good enough. But the minute you hit me up and it's like, hey, we got this tool that's gonna change your whole world, it's like, get the fuck out of here, man. No, you don't.
Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify, because I saw your post and I want to ask you about it, because it said, you hit me up and then you tried to get a hold of me, but I didn't, the bridge and the gap in between is like, well, if I don't know you, how do I get a hold of you?
Well, I mean, I'm easy to find. Like, you can go to our website, 1-800 number's in there. So we're not hard to find. I just think good business is done on great relationships.
Yeah.
And like, I want to get to know you. I want to know that you're a good person. What you sell doesn't matter to me. Like, we have a need for it. Like, we'll get to that. But create a relationship with me. Like, let's build up rapport. Let's go have a coffee. Let's do those things. And then let's talk business. But I don't like talking business when I first meet people.
And you know what? That's sound advice, especially the part where you said, "Come to Coffee&Closers." I don't know if everyone wrote that down.
I did that on purpose.
Very, very good advice. You had one more thought. You had 2.
I forgot the second one because that one was so important.
Well, I'll tell you right now, man. We're gonna open up to Q&A in a second, but this relationship, it's been long and it's been distant, and it's been close, and it's been. I have adored you for a long time. You've been a mentor, a brother to me, and I'm so honored that you would bestow your knowledge on us today, man. Thank you so much. Put your hands together for Clarence.
So what do we think? What'd you learn? Well, if you like that, check out coffeeclosers.com for upcoming episodes, recordings, and more. And don't forget to check out our sponsors. Each one has been hand-selected. They are best in class. Until next time, we'll see you at the next Coffee&Closers. Cheers.
Say live, come on live a life we love. Gotta live, I said live a life we love.